to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start out with resolutions. BC9, resolution supporting new advanced nuclear facilities in New York State. Authorizing the chairman of the legislature to submit a response to New York Power Authority's request for information regarding Sewell County's unique suitability and desire to be a site for new nuclear energy generation facilities. Okay, we have a first and second. Any other discussion?
You want me to explain it?
Yeah.
You want me to explain it?
Yes.
Okay. As you know, the governor has announced his desire for New York State to facilitate the construction of at least 1 gigawatt of new advanced nuclear in upstate New York. Part of the process is New York Power Authority, or NYPA, has issued a request for information from any community that's interested in being selected as a host community for new advanced nuclear construction. We've talked about this. Of course, we are interested. We are one of the primary sites that could do this quicker because we already have nuclear power plants, and Constellation has ample land around 9 Mile Point that is already federally approved for construction of nuclear facilities. So what this resolution does is 2 things. It's really the first letter of support for our response to the RFI, and it authorizes the chairman to submit the RFI and the response to the RFI, so that we can officially go on record as being a community that wants it. The deadline for this is December 11th. We assembled a team of people to begin doing the research and get it all written and done. But we thought it would be wise for the legislature to be on record. Number 1, supporting the effort. Number 2, authorizing the submission of the response.
Thank you, Phil. Any other discussion?
Another question. Phil, didn't we send a lot of information to them already for that stuff? How we did it?
No, this is the first official step they're taking. They're also issuing a request for proposals. Those go to companies that are in the business of operating and building nuclear power plants. So that'll be the second step, is to receive proposals from companies either on their own or in partnership with other companies that might co-locate on a site to be dedicated power recipients of the plant.
What is the time take? Will they, the next one?
I believe the state, from what I've been hearing, is the state wants to make a decision as to where the 1 or more may be built sometime in 2026. Now, there's 2 types of advanced nuclear that they're looking at. One are the small modular reactors, or SMRs they're called. They're about 300 megawatts. Those can be built quicker, but they're not. They don't. They're relatively newer technology. I think there's one being built in Canada, but I don't think there's been one in the U.S. yet. The other type is a 1,000 megawatt boiling water reactor, advanced design, and that would take longer to build, which is why we'd be a good candidate for it, because a lot of the legwork's already done on the site out here. Could actually go up to more. So whatever the state decides, whether it's going to go with 1,000 megawatt plant or a series of smaller SMRs or some combination throughout the state, we don't know yet. That'll depend on the proposals.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Any other questions?
No, let's get them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
I think when I read the paper, it said, well, 1 gigawatt.
What's that?
They talked about 1 gigawatt, I think.
At least one was the phrase they used, so there could be more than one.
Right, at least 1
Gigawatt,
gigawatt, yeah.
GC, yeah, the next one, we're waiting for that to be brought in.
We'll go to, the budget review. And I'd like to start with the assigned council.
Yeah, thank you for taking me out of turn. I have to leave a little early today. I have an important doctor's appointment, so thank you. The only small amendment I need to make to this budget is the revenue for our state aid to indigent defense. That is that DCJS grant. We had spoken about that last week. We got a little less than what we were anticipating. So we're currently, and my budget right now states we're anticipating $335,715. I need to amend that downward to $331,141. That is because DCJS does a formula based on the number of arraignments that are seen in the county, and then the grant is awarded based on that. So we saw a little less arraignments than we did last year, so they gave us about $5,000 less. I think just an explanation for my budget. When I met with Phil, he had a question about historical spending. You can see some of my expense lines. Historically, we haven't spent what we budgeted for. That is because any expense, with the exception of the legal fee line, is grant funded. So I have budgeted these expenses based on our grant awards. A lot of them, you will see in the explanation, there's zero county costs. So I have budgeted them what the maximum amount we can receive from the state for that. We don't always spend it all, but I cannot use that money for anything else. So it has been earmarked in this budget. It's sort of an explainer.
So if you don't use it, you have to send it back, or how does that work?
It's retroactive, so I have to make a claim based on what we've spent quarterly, and then they reimburse us. So if we don't spend the money, we're not receiving any money.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Everybody happy with the?
Well,
But I have a question. What does DCJS ATD stand for? Chuck, do you know?
not in your
Criminal
note.
justice.
Huh?
Department of Criminal Justice, I'd have to look at the rest of it.
ATD is Aid to Defense.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's not here. Okay? I'm looking at this and I don't know what the heck it means. I looked in my OCBBA book and it's not in there. So I'm just asking, the reason I'm asking is because people will want to know, what does it stand for? You know, okay, and probably Richie knows, but nobody else knows, but everybody's going to say, okay, that you're doing what we're going to do. And I can't, without an explanation of what it's going for and what it's going to. But you were talking about on page 33, line A1170, what you're talking about, you had to move it down.
Yes.
It's revenue.
Yeah, I know it's revenue. Okay, that isn't, and I know why we've got to move it down, okay? But I'm just saying that, in this, throughout the whole budget process, I'm looking and there's, acronyms in there that I look in my beautiful book here, I don't see anything.
Well,
So I don't know what it is.
one thing with that, though, Frank, it does say state aid to indigent defense. If you look all the way to the left, second column in.
Right, state aid indigenous defense, but the DC,
That's where the money would come from, Department of Criminal Justice Services.
okay, all right,
So that's how,
okay, well.
I
Terry, you've been in the business a lot longer than I have. A lot of people, haven't been, and And I understand, I'm just asking for it to be, you know, in the explanation somewhere in here as to what it is. Okay? So, yeah. It's a lot in there everywhere. Noel, did you know what it meant?
What's that?
Did you know what it stood for?
Yeah, because I asked somebody already. A quick question, if I could.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big picture question. My understanding was that when the public defender's office began, we would see your numbers going down. It was supposed to be kind of a,
Yep.
you're taking over some, so you would be doing less. I don't see that reflected in our budget.
Correct.
So what is happening and what are we going to do about it?
Well, I think part of the problem is the public defender, I don't want to speak for you. I think part of the problem is they cannot hire sufficient attorneys, the number of attorneys. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the case numbers go down. And at the same time that we created the public defender office, we saw that rate raise.
Right.
So that also threw a monkey wrench. So essentially, we are handling the same amount of cases for double the money, if that makes sense. You know, we do get a little funding back from the state with the rate increase reimbursement, but it's not enough to cover it, and unfortunately, the county has to pick up the remaining expense. Brad and I are in constant talks. We met with ILS last week. About transition plans. You know, the state also wants to see a clear transition plan, and Brad and I have both said we have a transition plan in place. Unfortunately, we can't transition anything until they're fully staffed. So the county is essentially in a waiting game right now, which is frustrating. It's frustrating for me. I know it's frustrating for Brad, and I know it's frustrating for you. It is very expensive, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
That's the question I was going to ask. You know, when is it going to start going down? Because, you know, and I know that you don't have a timeline because you can't, with him being, you know, undermanned, understaffed.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, I know we can wish for, you know, certain things for Christmas, and that's how there is wishes.
It's also hard to provide a black or white answer.
Right.
You know, we're lawyers, so
I know.
yeah, it depends. It's kind of a perfect storm, to be completely honest. You know, the DA has changed policies about negotiating at court. So sometimes what could have been resolved in 1 or 2 court appearances, now the DA is not willing to negotiate with defenders. So now we have attorneys having to go back to court more often than what we've seen in the past. Every court date costs money. They get to charge for travel time, which is grant funded. But I mean, we're seeing a lot of these. We have new judges who sometimes aren't familiar or comfortable with resolving something right away. You know, we've got a lack of public defenders. Family court, I know DSS is in a crisis about hiring an attorney. All of that leads to cases taking a little longer. And when cases take longer, they cost more money. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's one other complicating factor, and that is even with the Earl Herring money coming in, the state ILS has said that we have to maintain a certain level of financial commitment to assigned counsel based on, I think it was 2015 actuals or something like that. So you're never going to be able to see, you'll never see that net county cost in assigned counsel fall below the 1.5 or 1.7 range, because that's what they expect us to always be able to put into it from our own dollars. But Earl Herring and other grants take care of escalating costs beyond.
Yeah, now I do have a budget question.
Oh, I should have kept my mouth shut.
I'm looking at same page 33, line A 1170, other supplies and expenses. Looking at
35,500.
Right, but we were looking at 15,000 in 2024. And actuals in 2024 were only 5,000. And we went up to 45,000 in 2025, $40,000 jump. Now, I know we went down 10,000, but is there any way we can reduce that even further, or, you know,
So
what's
this,
possibility?
we received a grant to cover specific supplies and expenses for family court. So that is why you see that large jump. I have not implemented those because family court has been in such a state of chaos. I don't want to throw anything else at it and, you know, totally upend the apple cart. But I've budgeted in there in the event that we're going to go ahead and spend that. It's already budgeted. I don't have to do a budget mod. It's sitting right there. So part of the majority of that cost is grant funded. So again, if I didn't account for it, I couldn't spend it anywhere else. So that's why it's in the budget. I've earmarked it for the contracted purpose.
And that's by a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25,000 is from, a big grant, 10,000 is covered by, I think, the next. Our net cost is only $500.
Yeah, but where does grant money come from?
Well, it comes from the state, obviously.
And where did the state get the money?
It might be from the elite.
That's right. That's why I'm asking the question. Okay, thank you
We
very
all
much.
know that.
Good explanation. I understand where it's coming from and what, you know, why you put it there. And you've got it there, and so you got to put it there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I need a first and second on this.
First,
Second.
Have a first and second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have a question. Was that on a motion to reduce that revenue or on the, because you didn't do that?
Yeah, you got to do something then.
She asked
And
to
a new
reduce
number.
that so you gotta, you need a first and a second to reduce that revenue, vote on it, and then you need a first and a second on the whole budget.
I'll be the first to reduce it.
All right.
I'll second.
First and second to reduce it. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll go back to the original.
First.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right.
Thank you, thank you.
Next up, we will go
Go
to
to that resolution.
Any more there?
What's there?
There's one over here.
Got it.
You guys, everybody got one?
You got it. Thanks,
Okay.
Mike.
PC 10, a resolution authorizing the budget line for the broadband project. This will be in your Michael, $8 million.
Make the motion. Tell Chad.
Yeah.
All right, as you recall, the legislature approved authorizing short-term bans of $8 million to fund the construction of the broadband system. And what the plan is we take this, even though it's a $24 million project, bond for $8 million, we get that into our coffers, begin spending it, submit our claims to the state, that money comes back in. So that this $8 million just continues to cycle to fund the project as we claim the full, eventually the full $24 million coming in. So we received that $8 million that was approved by the legislature. So what we need to do is move it out of the treasurer's coffers and into the expense line in the capital project, so that that money can be spent to begin construction or acquiring supplies.
Okay, we had it first.
Sure. You get that right, Rich?
Yes, and you mentioned the bond rating.
Pardon?
You want to mention the bond rating?
Yeah, and we did, well, Moody's recently gave us a rating of AA3, which is very, very good, very high. So that helps us with interest rates.
And that was paid for by Oppenheimer, who purchased the notes.
Right.
And just so you know, the treasurer and I did not use an auto pen to sign those bonds.
All right, we have a first and second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll go to library. Page 2.
What page is that
Two.
on? Page 2.
8, 10, 10, 546, 500. It's the amount of $52,350 for 9 libraries. Yes. Thing you have for is the same amount. Basically, same amount, but looking for first, move it along. Second.
What's the line number?
See if I,
It says,
it's $53,000, 300.
Says OCLC.
Up there, top,
546 500.
OCLC.
just like to note that it stayed the same, so that's good.
Yeah, it's been there for years.
And, you know, libraries are very important. I mean, I was originally a fan of being, you know, our tax money going there, but since it is, it is a good thing that it's working. For people that have accessibility.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Right.
This last time I'm going to bring it up. You know what it stands for, okay? What does the OCF stand for?
Sort of down, Federation.
The County Federation, Sportsman's
Oh,
Federation.
that's the next one.
Yeah, but the reason I'm asking is because somebody, you know, that's looking at this thing, that's not in this group, is not going to know what all these acronyms mean, because it's not covered in here. And I just, you know, I don't know how I can vote on something that I don't know what it's actually saying.
You know now.
No, yeah, I know one, okay? You know, I know what OI stands for, this is Oswego Industries, right? I hope, right? Is that OI stand for Oswego Industries?
I'm assuming you don't have much room in a budget to put all these out.
These are-
because
no,
these are going to be like paragraphs.
These are project lines related to 5 characters.
Well, you get, if I was an auditor and I asked what it was, I wouldn't want to have to ask what it was. I would want to know what it is down below, that's what we're supposed to be doing as auditors. And I just, we're voting yes on these right now, but it doesn't mean that this is a passed budget, because if you guys have had enough time to look at all these budgets and say, this is what I would like to ask questions on, this is what I'd like to have, you know, reduced, you know, I'd like to know who helped you with it, because I've been looking through them all, and there's a lot of questions that I have, but I don't have any votes in here. But I'm just saying, in my next committee, I will be asking, but it doesn't mean that it's final, right? Because we can still have till the December meeting to make any changes that we wish to make.
Right.
Okay, and I would like to know what I'm going to have to make question, you know, reduce things up, because some of these things I may, you know, feel that they are services for everybody, and some of them I don't feel that they, you know, it's something we should be, you know, budgeting for. That's it. I won't say anything more. We'll just go on. I got questions over here when we come to you. Okay, so over to the public defender. Not until then. Okay.
Don't feel too well. I think I've done.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right. I appreciate it. First and second on that.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have a sportsman's quarter. Federation. And that is in the amount of $4,850. It's also been the same for years.
Page is that on?
Two.
Right above there. Right above the one that's
OCSR?
like that.
OCF,
OCF.
second line 2.
OCF, okay.
I'm looking for
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have the Board of Election. That's
Page 26. Issues in budget.
Morning. Morning. People have anything to say anything now?
We reorganized the budget a little bit, when trying to put things in more appropriate places. Anticipating raise costs on, expected expenses on certain lines in anticipation of high turnout next year. Also, keeping in mind that many of these local elections, many of them which were run just last week, are going to have to run again. This is going to increase the size of the ballot, will increase the need for manpower.
And the shifting of the election cycles to, most of them are going into the even year. We don't know if the ballots are going to be extremely long, 2 pages. We anticipate that there's going to be a huge uptick in registration. You see that during presidential years, which is notoriously where you have a lot more people register, which means we have to send a lot of acknowledgements and transfers out, so our postage and reproduction lines certainly we assume it's going to get bigger. All the legislators, most of the county supervisors, anyone with a 2-year term that should have had a 2-year term this year has to rerun on top of everyone that was going to run anyways next year.
It's obviously a difficult departmental budget to compare to the previous year, because like our previous year this year was a presidential year. Our year this year was a very local year. So you kind of have to go back a 4-year radius to get a sense of what it is.
Well, I like to say I'm not happy with this whole idea of them changing the election terms. If we, as a legislator, had wanted to change it, it would require a countywide vote. This is a violation of the home rule in New York State. Regardless of how you cut it, we got a couple of liberal judges who agree with the government, but this is a violation of home rule. It's going to happen, and not only that, when we circulated petitions a year ago, it's for a 2-year term, not for a 1-year term. Okay, so she's changing that too, so I'm not happy with it at all.
I don't disagree with you. They should have made it a 3-year term when we ran in 2023.
Well, I
Should have
think,
made it, if
no,
they're
I
gonna
think
change
even
this,
that,
they're gonna change this to, where everybody's gonna be on an even year, they should have made it in 2023, you run for 3 years, then it would go back to 2 years.
Well,
But they didn't. That was Cuomo, that was, he's gone, not saying that she would have changed any, but, I don't think,
what I'm saying is that
Right.
the whole operation is against the home rule.
I agree with you.
So that means that the people in this county should
Right.
vote on that, so,
They should have,
so I'm not happy with the whole thing, period.
I have a question. The $275,000 for, amount reflects, the requested poll worker raise in pay. That takes it to what? What do we, is that the one that took it to 250, or is that still another open, or are we gonna change it again?
It's still it's what you voted on before. We're just anticipating more.
When I voted against it, okay.
We remember.
We're gonna need more poll workers.
How does that work for poll workers? Because then, like St. Joe's Church, there were questions and people were told they couldn't answer for them because they were a different party. How does that work?
Can you elaborate,
Yeah, there was,
for example?
a person comes in, signed in, they asked them where to go from there, and they couldn't give it to them because they'd have somebody sign it, or sign off, and they couldn't, there was no one there to do it at the table. They had to wait for someone, or they had to go get someone.
It would depend on the issue specifically. If it's a check-in issue, they're checking signatures.
Yeah, it's a check.
So probably they didn't, there wasn't enough poll workers, so they were waiting for someone from the other party to get back.
I can't explain what happened in that moment.
That would be what I would think, is if someone was checking in, they might have had to wait. A lot of our poll sites, there was, in both parties, if you were short, they have to table out. You have to have bipartisan representation at each table, especially the check-in when the signature.
We also,
They may have had to wait.
we require them to switch positions so that they understand how to use the full pads, because a lot of them are nervous about it.
If I had to guess, that's what happened in that situation, is they had to wait for someone from the other party before they could approve the signature.
Why is it that they have to do that? I mean, if someone shows their ID, they sign in.
I mean, they may not have shown their ID, but even if they do, you have to have two parties agree that that's who it is on the ID, the signatures, matches. It can't just be one party's decision that
They're both
voter is
literally
gonna get a ballot.
That's where you get fraud, or accused of fraud when only one party is controlling who signed it. This the person, really the person. So that's why we in Oswego County, and I know not in Ivy County, they have two.
Yeah,
You have
Most of the
Democrat-
people sitting at those tables, and there are most people coming in, so.
Right, but we try not to use an honor system
Still.
when voters are going to be able to get a ballot. We
Okay.
want someone from each party to say, yes, we both agree. That's the idea behind it.
Since you see a need for more poll workers, where is the training reflected in the budget for those poll workers? What's
Poll
that
worker
on?
training?
I was just
It's
curious.
in their pay line.
It's
Yeah.
in where?
It's in their pay line.
Oh, in the payment.
Yeah, and
Okay.
election workers pay 5147.
Okay, thank you. The same line. Thanks.
Mike, line other equipment, $1,000. I know it's only $1,000 when you're talking about a
Which one are
budget
you
this size.
Hang on, which one are you talking about?
Midway on the page.
1450,
I didn't bring my glasses with me, so I can't read the
Other
number to you. 1450, 526.
I believe that is our Quadient machine.
It's only $1,000.
Yeah,
I think
Is there some way we can,
it's our Quadient
it's a postage machine.
machine that we rent.
it costs us $1,000 for the year?
I should buy some, start renting them out.
Well,
That's an income.
Mine cost more than that.
Why can't we share one somewhere?
Residual.
We use ours every day. I
I
mean,
know. All right, $1,000, that if it's the postage machine, I think we can probably get a cheaper one, but. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, and when I was in voting, I asked how many poll workers would like to make more than minimum wage, and they all raised their hands.
Oh,
So I don't know.
good.
I don't know, they'd like to make more than minimum wage.
Who wouldn't raise their hand against it?
Well, all I know is when I put it forth in the, committee to give them minimum wage, I got.
That's an issue, so we discussed that a couple times.
Right, I know you
Why
have, and it was that they don't want to do that, they don't want to get minimum wage. That's what was actually
Well, that was
voted
the
on.
reason why they gave that answer, okay? Because it makes less if we give them minimum wage. So I think that discussion, no, we're doing the budget here. I
Yeah,
think
no,
that
I just
discussion's
said,
over.
all I want to do is make a point,
Well, you made your point.
Okay. All right, I'm looking for a first and second.
First,
Give
Second.
it a second. Jay already showed it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
thank you.
Next up, we have the county attorney, page 25.
Coming?
Page 25.
We need this here.
Page 23.
23.
Sorry about that.
Small print.
Should have brought out a glass.
Everybody approves.
Kept the vacant position in, we're still trying to fill that. Been difficult, but we hope to fill it next year as soon as we can. No lack of work. We can help to have that filled. We had a mid-year renewal of one of the subscriptions, which was tracking a little higher. There's a budget mod last meeting on that, and that's reflected the estimated cost for this budget. Bloomberg provides a database, a couple different things, but primarily it's useful for us on labor arbitration decisions. And they only BNA, so anytime we have arbitration, we have to use that. And I've briefed the committee on the tax surplus litigation. I anticipate we'll start to see that wane a little bit as decisions are made, and motions are granted. There's a class action federal court that the county is involved in on tax surplus litigation, as well as some other cases. The firm that's handling it is representing about 20 other counties for economies of scale. The gun case, Antonik v. Hochul, concealed carry case, there's a dispositive motion pending on that. If that's not granted, we will move to the discovery phase more than likely, and it remains to be seen what will be sought from the county.
That could fluctuate.
It could fluctuate, and Socris obviously is a huge project that goes forward. That's we didn't account for it in the 25 budget,
Right.
but the Socris goes forward. That's a lot of contracts, a lot of work. I'll get to the insurance in a bit, but what we're seeing is the state is also imposing additional requirements on counties, recipients of grants by way of insurance, things, especially on projects of that nature, or broadband.
Anybody else have any questions? Looking for a motion? First and second? No other discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Insurance, we're anticipating
Page 17.
for 2026 on property and casualty renewals, we're looking at perhaps a 10 to 12% increase. The pricing on insurance, we don't know our estimated premium until about 30 days prior to renewal. Renewal tracks for the fiscal year. One of the things that I remind the legislature every year is that the public officials' insurance function of that premium is the size of the county budget, because they look at that
is not the levy, the budget. If the budget goes up, they look at that as a sign of increased operations, more exposure. Law enforcement, armed, school resources, deputies, probation officers, DA investigators, factor into the cost. Each SRO or full-time officer that's added on the police professional has an increase in premium. We're seeing cars are not only more expensive to purchase or equipment, but they're becoming more expensive to repair. It's reflected in both the automotive and the inland marine. The cyber liability has been a good thing for the county, but it's not cheap. The county has exposures. It's like any business of this size, cyber realm. And Carrier, that we're waiting, very proactive, conducts scans and provides advice to IT on that. Is also very good if and when there's an incident. We'll have a better idea of the total premium. The budget reflects what we believe it is, or what we believe it will be for 26. Mind you, when broadband is up and running, that will increase. We'd like to ensure the assets that are installed on the poles throughout the county. We've already had to acquire surety bonds for National Grid, Verizon to complete pole attachment agreements, CSX for railroad crossings. SOCRIS would be another asset that would need to be insured. But both broadband and SOCRIS will hopefully have some revenues attached to it. So that can be, part of that can be charged back. And as I mentioned on other state grants, we've seen that states are requiring different forms of insurance, such as cyber or fidelity bonds on different grant programs. Depends on the department or agency. So it's basically it. We're still primarily with NYMER, which is municipally owned reciprocal through NISAC, about 600 members. The broker of record is Eastern Shore, which I think was employee owned. And the NYMER divides up the state by region. So any questions?
Okay, we'll go for the first to move that. For the first, second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Well, next up, we have the county clerk.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you have any questions, let me know. I will note that my postage is up. Of course, that's because of the cost of doing business. Everything from motor vehicle to the record center to the clerk's office goes through one postage machine, which does cost me $1,900 a year to rent, but the whole building is. My reproduction expenses, I've been able to cut that back slightly. It seems now there is a correlation between that reproduction expense and our revenue. You know, when times when there's no when recordings are less, that cost will go down because I pay per document to put it online. In my eyes, it's the most efficient way of doing business for the office. I will say we do have some questions about what's going to go on with licensing and permits. I kept that the same at $60,000. Those are fees associated with coastal permits. I am a little concerned with some of the discussion about the out-of-state permits being accepted here with the Supreme Court rule. Does that make ours null and void? We don't know. So in my world, I'm constantly reading law books and keeping track of what court decisions are. If we go on to motor vehicle, you will see there are those 4 positions that were added in August of this year. So that was a slight increase in that budget. We still are playing with the motor vehicle fees and the online revenue and share fees, just because that is new with the financial sharing agreement with the state that we're trying to make sure is going to be a constant here. Outside of that, in records management, for the most part, we're staying the same there, just some slight increases due to contractual obligations. Anybody have any questions?
Revenue's still looking pretty good, so that's it. That's in the revenue.
Oh, I didn't know what you said. Yes. We are working on, with, when it comes to revenue for motor vehicle, I am looking at a little bit of a different approach. Right now, currently my courier has the 4-day-a-week schedule for picking up. I'm looking at if it's feasible to add another day going a different direction in the state. I don't really want to say which direction at this point in time publicly, but if I went in a certain direction that we're not going in right now, there's potential to see a pretty good increase in motor vehicle revenue. The only concern I have is what the other county is doing currently for those dealers. Right now, I'm hearing it's slim to none. They're not doing anything for them. So if I can, take advantage of that and bring those dealers in-house, that'll be definitely an increase for us.
Frank, you had something?
One, Terry, I think you're doing, really, I think you're doing a good job out there at the DMV and the clerk's office. But, did you already explain why, okay, you said that you're gonna make $1.1 million and budget officer dropped it down to $800,000. And I mean, I like the way it's going up, but it going down, I don't mind, as long as you're still supplying the same services, because you're doing a good job out there. And I just want to see.
Where are you talking, Frank? On a particular
I'm
line?
talking about it on page 21.
For motor vehicle use or for
Well, it says
for the motor vehicle section in general? You're talking.
appropriations,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
it says net to the county.
So Phil and I went back and forth on motor vehicle fees. I was cautiously optimistic on it. I think we're going to hit the higher number, quite honestly. I get my reports. I actually have them with me for what they send us. I was basing it off that. Phil was a little skeptical of them, so we went with a lower one. When you have any money next year, you can thank me then.
I won't thank you. I mean, like I said, I just wondered why we, it went down.
Again, this number's set in September, so this is the updates number.
Yeah.
If it looks better, you can always change it by December 11th.
I mean, so what I get from my 2026 projections for revenue and retention fees from the state, it brings me out to be, let's see here, I'm up 110,000 compared to last year is what it's showing. And that was total retention and sharing. But the question we have, as always, is, yes, if you go online now, we're getting the 10.75%. However, if you use a different motor vehicle, whether it be Syracuse or Madison County, which are usually the main ones that they would go to from here, we don't get those roads. They gamble on where they're going to go.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Like a first and move it? Have a
Second.
first, a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Terry.
Yep.
Next up, we have the legislature.
Page 1.
It is one.
Okay, so there's 3 areas I'm going to point out here that I changed, increased. One is the other fees and services, and that's for the special prosecutor. That was new to us this year, and so we had to move some money around to accommodate the amount of money that for the special prosecutor. And I increased that to $90,000. Looks like we're projected to come in about 85.5 this year. It's kind of a guessing game with that on how much money that's going to be. That is A 1010-543-800. Mileage reimbursement, I increased that because there's a slight increase this year with more legislators traveling to NISAC in particular. So I increased that, and the other travel reimbursement from 22 to 30,000 because more, and that is 544-500. because we have more legislators attending NISAC and, our chairman going through NACO.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Chairman, I
You're
just,
more important than I am.
no, you first.
No, you go.
I would just note, the special district attorney is an appointment by a court where the DA has a conflict in prosecution. The statute says that the bill should be audited and paid by the county board legislature. So it's been paid in prior years, but it's better to itemize it in the budget and track it. As the DA has a conflict, it should come out of the legislature.
Okay. So the other travel reimbursement and the mileage reimbursement, that's two different lines, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, the mileage reimbursement, if you took everything out but the NISAC travel, what would the possibility of that be going down? What I'm saying is I want to eliminate the reimbursements coming meetings. Not the NISAC, because that's training, that's something different.
Right, so you're saying that, you want an amount on what it is for people to travel to meetings?
Right.
I would have to look at the budget to
Okay,
give you a
just
definite
give my
number.
note, because I know, that's what I'm looking to reduce by. Thank you. And the other one is the travel reimbursement going to, what is that going to?
That's for NISAC and any other, NACO for the chairman.
Right, so 30,000 is for NISAC,
Yes,
and the 20,000 is for them traveling, coming to.
is
the
it
meeting.
mileage? Yes.
Mileage.
So this is, the $30,000 is for the expense of the hotel and, registration of that. For both NISACs and one NACO.
But not the mileage.
That's not the mileage.
Okay, then I would like to know, because that's what I'd like to reduce. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other question? First and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? We have, clerk of legislature.
So there's a few different areas here that I increased. One being reproduction expenses. This is where your proceeding books and your government directory that we do every year, this is where that comes out of. It looks like we're going to be slightly increased this year, will be increased next year as well. Just the cost of printing these too. And postage, because postage is what it is, I'm anticipating that's going to go up a few $100s for next year. Advertising, the number of legal notices that we have to put in the newspaper, that's where advertising is, and we're going to be over this year, so I'm guessing we will be next year as well, so I increased that by $500 to $3,000. And then again, other travel I increased slightly for additional training that we might have in our department.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, have first and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Expenses.
Weights and measures, okay. Weights and measures, I increased other equipment because we're going to need additional weights for next year. Jamie's got to buy weights when he measures scales and all that, so he needs additional weights, so I increased that to $800. Repairs and maintenance equipment, we're going to, I think it's every 5 years for the state, there's more calibration testing. So we had to increase that with the amount of calibration testing we have to do next year. And reproduction expenses, we need to purchase more seals for the gas tanks for next year, so we've got to buy that, so I increased that a little bit.
shape is the vehicle he actually drive around to do the testing? Is that in good shape?
Yes, we bought that this year.
Yep.
Yep.
Great.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have strategic initiatives.
Page 1.5. Back entrance.
Working in the hall. This should be pretty quick though.
Dave?
Think again.
25.
Page 0.
Page 1.5. 1.5.
125. Everybody knew it.
You know, they think they might not. It's got millions of people. That's all.
But for you. Yeah, my book has got 125, has got, mobility management.
No.
Right below that.
Right below that, it
says-
Oh, there it is.
below.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought the same thing,
Oh,
Jay,
yeah, thank
and I had to look a little bit closer.
It's too small to get its own page.
Small one light.
But really, that doesn't have a total. Frank, are you just thinking, or you want some?
Well, I thought I ordered a beer, but, you know, I don't see a waitress, so. All right, I'll ask the question. When is this $64,000 gonna go away?
27.
27?
Yes.
This
I
is
just-
all ARPA funds that paying for this.
That's a good one.
That's a good question, because I just noticed that the external ARPA isn't budgeted in here. The 26, so that should be a net zero. I would, that's why they call the draft. I would request that the committee,
Afraid of draft.
yeah, I would request that the committee change line ARPA E to 69,510 in revenue.
ARPA E.
All right?
Still 125, I think.
8022440890 ARPA E.
You'll see it under federal aid.
I still have
Zero, it
it
should read 69,510.
Federal aid.
And that's where the salary is coming from?
Yeah, everything comes out of that.
Oh, ARPA E.
This department is not supposed to cost
Okay.
anything.
So you need a motion.
Good
You
catch.
need a motion to
Good catch.
change the revenue project line ARPA E to $69,510.
You have a first?
Okay, then a first and a second. Any discussion?
Should have brought my glasses. No, we're not done there yet.
Did we vote?
No, we changed the whole page.
Not like yours.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Now we need a motion.
To the budget as amended.
Okay, so we need a motion to go back. What is it, amended? First?
Second.
Second? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have, road property.
Page 14.
I didn't really make any changes to the budget this year, aside from the contractual increases for salaries. The land bank salary is again set by the land bank, which is why she makes substantially more than me.
Me too.
Everyone in the room. But that is recouped fully, 100%, including fringe, in the revenue line on the next page, land bank reimbursement. Yeah, the only other change really I think I made to this budget was I reduced postage by 3,000, and increased other fees and services by the same 3,000. And really that increase was just to cover the uncertainty over our website, since it has to be either upgraded through the same company that bought the company that was servicing it before, which their contract they wanted me to sign had like 5% increases per year, which I didn't sign. Yeah, I didn't sign. We just got a 1-year extension on it, but if we stay with them, they'll probably want increases, and we'll have to negotiate a budget anyway. If we go with somebody else, it'll probably be a similar story. So that's why I've got this kind of extra in there for that uncertainty. Other than that, pretty much everything stayed the same as far as I know. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I really get it. Can we get an explanation as to why that has to be in there, the land bank?
Most,
I'd love it too.
most land banks are staffed by county staff. And this allows and the land bank is a creation of the county. So in order for the director or the staff there to be part of the New York State retirement system, it has to be in their budget. But that's why they fully reimburse us from the revenues that the land bank itself generates.
And we bill them quarterly. Well, I bill her at the beginning of the year, but she pays it quarterly as they get their funds through their operations and grants and whatever else they get their money from.
I voted against that.
I was just gonna say, I think we ought to take.
Yeah, I'm on that committee, but I voted against this one.
Now with the.
You know, her putting,
You guys gotta be losing money. What you're costing to rebuild a house and the sale not going through?
With all the changes in the way we.
With the
acquire
auction.
properties and things, I just don't know moving forward where we're going with it.
Right.
Yeah,
I believe at the time when she was put on as us, you know, with us, virtually we brought up the point that it's somebody that's looking for, you know, a pension of some sort.
well, I don't think that's fair, but.
Well, I mean, we brought it up at the time and we weren't in favor of it. But I mean, you know, the land bank reimbursed us, so, you know, it was okay to do.
And we don't appoint that person.
Right.
To their own.
Right. And, you know, I mean, just like most of the directors we have, you know, they're all doing a good job and she's doing a good job. I think our directors are doing a good job. Can we pay them what they're paying her? Well, some of them would like it, I know.
I would.
I know you would.
I definitely
I have a question about other equipment.
Yeah.
Now, I'm asking this, I know it's piddly, but is this to buy, you know, desk chairs, stuff like that? Because we've got people that don't have employees, so we've got desks and chairs for them. Why can't we start sharing them? I mean, I know it's a piddly amount.
Yeah, it's
You know, I'm just looking at it.
It's been in our budget to replace a computer every year so that they're at most 5 years old. Just because our GIS software, our geographic information software, doesn't doesn't typically run on your standard hardware, so it needs something specialized usually, so that's why we've been ordering it. I will say that IT just replaced our 2 GIS specialist computers through their own budget, I guess, so maybe this doesn't need to be there, but I've kept it in there for that reason that.
So if I ask to have it removed, it's going to be. Okay, thank you.
Oh, they build you? Well, then I'd like to keep it. Just in case IT builds me for those computers they just replaced. Okay, all right. Yeah,
It's not giving them money away yet.
yeah.
Looking for a motion.
I move.
First, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have non-public.
Nothing significant.
Okay, is that?
Still looking.
35.
35?
Yeah, public, yeah.
Welcome trouble, Harry.
Can we talk about your recruiting and how that's been going? Because there's a lot of positions that are still in. Bill?
Right now, we're recruiting hard. We had 4 offers out to either third-year students who had already graduated, law grads who were awaiting bar results, and/or third-year students who are this year third year, so they will be taking the bar anticipated in July. We had 4 offers out. 1 has accepted, 1 declined, 2 we're still waiting to hear from. We have another interview today at noon with a law grad. Part of the difficulty that we run into, for example, the law grad we're interviewing today, she took the bar in Maryland. Well, they now have the uniform bar exam, they call it the UBE, and as long as she scored high enough, that will get her eligible to come to New York and practice, but to actually be admitted here, she would also have to take the New York law exam, which is New York law specific, and everyone has to take and pass that. So it slows things down. We think she's a good candidate. That's why we've offered an interview, but until we find out what her specific situation is, she may be a candidate, she may not. We had one young woman who we really liked, but she's here on a visa and she doesn't have that sorted out. So as much as we'd like her to work for us, I don't think it's going to be possible. If it is, it'd probably be limited to a single year. So we have, with having to have not only the special degree, but also take the bar exam and be admitted to practice, it just adds time to the whole process. We just did a on-campus recruiting event at Syracuse, went very well. We've already had a number of students reach out to us looking for positions. So we will be setting up interviews out of that. We have, I think it's, I can't remember whether it's this Friday or next Friday, we have on-campus interviews at Buffalo Law School. We generated interest last year, so we're hopeful the same thing will happen this year. We continue to recruit. We continue on a regular basis to assess where we are advertising. If, for example, if we're advertising on Facebook and we haven't had an application in 3 to 6 months, we consider pulling that and putting the money towards another platform or something else. So we're doing our best, but it's tough at the moment. Yes.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it looks like you're looking for full-time positions only. Have we considered getting more experienced people who might be interested, who are local or, local, to do part-time work instead of full-time positions?
I would love that. ILS, Indigent Legal Services, who funds a good majority of my office, they do not like it.
Okay.
And so they are very resistant to paying it. And I have gone round and round with them to say exactly what you just said. There are experienced attorneys who maybe they want health insurance. I had 2 people apply in the past who they had young kids and they only wanted literally a part-time. They didn't want a full-time gig. ILS has approved, I think we have 3 right now, but I have asked for more and they said they will not approve anything right now in the current contract, that they would consider that for the next contract that is going to begin in April of 2027.
What is the majority of cases you're getting? Misdemeanors, felonies? How do they divide them between you and the other office? How is it determined how many you're getting? What are you getting?
Right now, the way it works is anything coming out of the city of Fulton or the city of Oswego is assigned to my office. Unless we have a conflict, then it's sent over to the assigned counsel program. As far as the town courts, one way we get cases is the judge assigning cases. Some of them have been really satisfied with our representation, our professionalism, and everything else, and they have started using us as the primary provider in their courts. There's other judges that don't like change, and they just will not, come hell or high water, excuse my language, they will not assign my office. They just won't do it. Even though we're there every single court appearance, and a lot of the assigned counsel attorneys are not, they still keep giving them the cases. As far as coming out of the CAP program, we do all the morning CAP, 365 days a year, holidays included. Anything coming out of that gets assigned to our office. The evening CAP, which has a lot more volume because it's 5 hours long, it's scheduled to be 5 hours. There may be 1, there may be 30 arraignments. The attorney who is covering the evening CAP gets priority as far as the case being assigned to him or her. If they don't want it, then again, it's up to the judge who's sitting at CAP, whether they send it to my office or whether they...
So once you get assigned an arraignment, you stay with that person? You don't...
As long as there's not a conflict, yes. And the easy example of a conflict is you have 3 co-defendants. You can only represent 1. So that's the easy, but there's, prior representations, active representations, our client is a witness or a victim. So in those cases, we have to shift those over to the assigned counsel program. But for the most part, once we do an arraignment, once we touch the case, it generally is ours.
What is the mileage reimbursement at,
Gas and oil?
Pardon?
The gas and oil one? Gonna ask that.
Self-treasured rate.
Well, 544400. That's gone from 4,000 to 25.
Yes, because originally when it was budgeted and wasn't being utilized, the attorneys are now, because we have 2 vehicles, but we oftentimes have 5, 6 courts going at the same time, the attorneys using their own vehicles are asking for mileage reimbursement, which they're entitled to ask for. So we increased that line because, one, ILS will pay up to $8,000. So I think we're going to need that, but we may even need more. Again, it's hard to say. It's a guessing game on this one because we don't have the historical, because it wasn't being utilized. People really didn't know they could seek the reimbursement. So
when an attorney heads out for work in the morning, if they're going to court, they go to court first, or do they go to office first?
Well, for example, I cover Boylston. I'm going to Boylston tonight. If I take the county vehicle, then there's no mileage charge. If the county vehicle is used by somebody going to, say, Scriba, and we have 2, and the other one is going to Central Square, then if I have to take my own vehicle, because there's not one of our 2 vehicles available, then I would bill that mileage out. And the mileage we generally approve is from the office back to the office. Unless you are able to go straight home at fewer miles, then we'll approve that, obviously, less miles, but we don't approve someone coming from, one of our people living in Onondaga County, driving all the way up to, say, Redfield, and then going all the way home, because that's a lot more miles than from office to Redfield and back, so.
It's still 100 miles.
Yeah, it's still 100. It's still 100 miles.
It was there on Thursday, I know.
I know that quite well.
Thank you.
So just for clarification, that mileage reimbursement is something that is required for us to pay? So somebody getting a salary of $89,000 a year gets to put in for mileage too?
Yeah.
My understanding is because they're using their own vehicle, and that's why we get them to use the 2 vehicles we have, and I think that's
But
how.
that's a rule we can't change at the county level. It's coming down.
That's general municipal law. It's actual necessary expenses
Okay,
incurred.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's too bad,
Yeah, because it's
because
it's a lot of
you're
miles.
making $178,000 a year. I'm not sure you need mileage reimbursement, but that's just me.
I don't disagree with you.
That's gonna get me going. I have a couple questions. Yeah. Line A 1171, top line, other fees and services. Does everybody understand why it went from $5,000 to $300,000?
Do you have a copy so you know what I'm looking at?
You want me to
Yeah, it's a reimbursement.
It's the ATD grant. It's the Aid to Defense grant. And the reason is, they can use it throughout their budget, but there's also parts within their budget that are covered by Hurl Herring. And so they place it on this line so that when they are above and beyond the Hurl Herring, they have a place to take it from. Because if we just put the grant in there, then the budget would be vastly understated because when they need the expense money, it wouldn't be in there.
Because, I was gonna ask to refresh my, understanding that the public defender is all through grant money from the state. It's all state funded, correct? Except for certain parts. I want to see what parts.
Right
we have
now,
to pay.
because we're understaffed, we're generally net zero, but if we're ever fully staffed, it will not be a net zero.
Well, then that's not good.
Better stay understaffed.
All right, so,
I think it's gonna be a problem.
well, it won't be when I'm here, so, but down at the bottom, net to the county, was we were gonna have $314,000 cost, but we wound up with a $2,000 net gain. And that's for what reason?
That is because, if you go back to salaries, or in part because of salaries, that ILS has told the public defender that he doesn't have enough attorney positions budgeted. That according to their caseload standards, they need another 9 or 10 attorneys, even
Beyond what's already approved.
Right.
So basically another
Yeah.
12 or 13 that we can't find one.
So what Brad did is he budgeted them, and if you read my note, what I'm saying is, ILS is looking for a plan to increase the number of attorneys. Let's authorize the positions, but don't fund them. So I took all that money away. That's the largest chunk of that difference. And what I'm going to have, and there's a couple of the departments that have other similar things going on. And what I'm going to ask F&P to do Wednesday is do a motion authorizing that these positions are approved to be hired, but we don't fund them. We will fund them if and when we ever have to fill them. And this shows ILS we have a plan for that to fill the, to have these positions created that they want, but without having to charge the taxpayers for them right now.
Well, and here's the other problem to it is ILS has made clear that during the current contract, they're not going to fund any of those positions they say we need. So again, a reason not to fund them at this point because we won't get a single penny right now back from ILS. They said they would, knowing that they made the recommendation on the number of attorneys we need, it will be discussed when we start talking the next 3-year contract. But at this point, their position is there's no funding to pay for any of those.
Well, that's good.
That's good. I mean,
it is what
when we were sold this car, we were told that it was going to come all equipped, and now we're finding out that if you want steering, you're going to have to pay extra for it.
Well, have you not known people?
Well, I didn't agree with I said not.
I don't
just agree with forming this position, this whole department. I didn't vote in favor of it. I said, why are we doing this?
We didn't have a
The
choice.
state demanded it.
Yeah, I know.
That's
No,
what-
they didn't demand it. Okay, because there were counties that didn't have it. Terry, we weren't the only county that didn't have it. There were other counties that didn't have
We couldn't
public
provide an
defenders.
alternative.
Okay?
Yeah.
We had the assigned counsel.
But we couldn't provide the alternative that other counties had. I was on this committee. I was chair of this committee when we started this whole thing.
It didn't turn out the way we originally anticipated, largely because the state doubled the rates on assigned counsel pay. Secondly, even though it may, it's not costing us money now, but it might in the future, it's a good thing that we did because the number of attorneys available to be on the assigned counsel panel has dwindled so much, we would not be able to provide the representation in courts unless we did have attorneys on staff at a public defender's office, because there simply isn't enough in the community.
And Phil, didn't the formation of the office lock in funding?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'd like the funding, but it's not all of it. Not gonna cover it. I mean, that's why I got the problem.